Instead, they see somebody from the world and let me help you up. Instead, and then their brother over here that's a Christian brother and been in the faith, they're like, blah, blah, blah. Am I right? That's misplaced outrage.
Do that again?
No, you make me do that all the time. No, but
Was
that's...
it a bow wow or a bow?
You know what?
Welcome you to the Riverside Weekly. We hope your time with us today is thought-provoking, spiritually challenging, and a life-changing experience. Our discussions and messages can be raw, real, and at times very uncomfortable and even controversial. We highly encourage all of our guests and listeners to take notes, leave comments, and when possible, always share what you hear. And now here are your hosts, Pastor Cello and Pastor Mia.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the podcast.
Good morning. How's everybody doing?
It's time to make the donuts. And don't forget, if you got your COVID shot, you can go get a free donut.
Free donut.
And that's only if you watched last week's podcast. Otherwise, you've been dealing without donuts. And the other thing is that I forgot to tell you, they're also giving another incentive that even if you don't have your COVID shot, you too can go get another donut as an incentive to go get the shot.
So are we plugging the shots? Are we promoting the shots?
No, not at all. We're plugging donuts. This ad was not sponsored by Dunkin' Donuts.
It's free donuts.
Yeah. You're looking a little wet there.
Yeah. I am a little wet.
I'm on the wet side. Bet you don't know who that is.
Yeah.
Do you?
I do. I know exactly who that is.
I bet nobody else does. Who would
Nobody.
know? Anybody 30 and older? 50,
Maybe. You have to be 50. You gotta
40,
be
40-ish.
You gotta be late 40s.
Yeah.
Definitely 50 should know that.
Well,
So
if you do know it, because you don't think they're gonna know it. If you do know it, first three.
Yeah, if you can figure out, sing it, do it again.
On the wet side. Dun, 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 dun.
So it's not the verbiage, it's the melody, the tune. Some of the words are the same, but she changed a couple of words. If you can figure that out, I'll give you $10 to the first 10 people. The first 10 people. The first
three people.
First three people. I'll cash app you
$10
$10 if you can figure that out.
And make sure that when you text me or you message, how are we going to do it?
Just I don't know. I don't know. That's a good question.
Yeah.
How do we do that? How do you get?
Can they leave a message?
You know
on
what?
YouTube?
They can direct messages on Instagram or Facebook.
Okay. All right.
There you go.
Yeah, but
Instagram
how
or
is
Facebook.
anybody going to know that? Because that's not Riverside Weekly. That's Riverside.
I don't know. Leave a comment on the bottom. The first three comments.
On YouTube.
On YouTube.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, so leave us a comment.
On the YouTube.
With the name of the movie.
And your Cash App name.
Yes, and we'll shoot you some cash.
All right, first
$10.
three. Got it.
Cool.
All right. So let's get some shout outs while we're doing that because Samuel. Do you think he'll know that
No,
movie?
he ain't gonna know that movie.
7. We'll just have to see. We'll have to see. Samuel, my faith is in you. Okay.
What's up, man? I know you were excited about the Baylor Bears winning a couple of nights ago. So, what? You're the one Baylor Nation person.
I am. You're right.
And then, shout out to April.
Yay!
Big 33.
Woo, woo, woo. She
So
turned
say what's up to
33,
you
guys.
Miss
Valerie. Aw. Hi, friend. I didn't know she watched.
Yeah.
Aw, that's so
All these
sweet.
folks, man. We're trying to reach 1,000 subscribers, man. So we started trying to keep up with not everybody, but trying to keep up with everybody that allows us to see that they've subscribed.
Okay, so. And Rivki, shout out to the folks in Temple holding it down for us over there.
Right.
And Ash, she's so cute.
And Miles.
Yes, and Miles, by the way. Ash and Miles
Lozano. My granddaughter, K-Bug.
K-Bug, guys.
K-Bug.
We have a 12-year-old listening to our podcast.
Subscribe to us. She's like, I watch y'all. I'm like, yes.
And single tear rolled down my ear. K-Bug, tell all your friends, listen to it.
Nobody tell them that we're not cool. Don't tell my grandkids we're not.
Yeah, because we are. And Titus, I didn't know you were listening, Titus. Thanks. Shout out to Big Homie's Kitchen.
Big Homie's
Because
Kitchen.
he be cooking it up. All right. And Diana.
Appreciate you guys.
Princess Diana. We love you.
Man, appreciate you guys subscribing. Man, we are trying, push you towards 1,000 subscribers. Man, y'all help us, man. Like, share,
Subscribe, tell your friends,
hit the bell,
screenshot it, repost,
Man, yeah,
hashtag,
post. We are
I
trying.
don't know.
Our goal is 1,000 subscribers. So, man, hope you guys can help us get there. So, what are we talking about today?
So I think we're still on that part of being controversial.
Okay.
And I know you wanted to talk about some things, but I didn't feel like we've used this platform to really not talk about current events, but not to share our opinions, whether to sway their decision. We really don't like to put that out there like that because we don't want to say black or white. And I know we're not supposed to be gray, and I know we're not supposed to be on the fence. I understand that. We're not supposed to be lukewarm, or we're going to be spit out.
Yeah. Jesus said don't be lukewarm, but that's how I like my coffee. Lukewarm.
I do
I
not.
like my food.
You do.
Like my food.
You do.
Lukewarm.
You do. I like it
I
blazing
ain't
hot.
Jesus, so I will not spew lukewarm food out of my. I will eat it
Anyway.
as long as it's cheese is melted.
Look at all that cheese upon that. Anyway, so we are talking about trying to not skirt around an issue, but trying to keep a playing level field around an issue.
Yeah, because someone asked, why don't we talk more about current events?
Yeah.
I think we do from time to time, but I have a real tough time with allowing society and the things that are taking place
control.
to drive to drive our content.
Okay.
That's the best way
I
to
like
say
that.
it. I don't like having the issues, social issues, politics, those types of things. I don't like them to drive our content.
Okay.
I don't. I'm fully aware of a lot of things that are taking place.
I am not, in case you wanted to know.
But at the same time, I don't feel like you said, I don't feel like Riverside Weekly is that's
not our thing.
that's not our thing. We're not.
We're trying to help you get through life. You
Yeah.
already are watching
Yeah,
the news.
yeah, you're
You're
right.
already listening to the radio.
if
You're
you
already hearing it from your coworkers or people around you.
You're hearing it already, and then some of you guys may not know what's going on and
Yeah.
don't really care what's
I
going
don't.
on.
I don't like the news.
I mean, I think I'm pretty
You
current.
are pretty.
current on events and things that are going on.
are
but
pretty.
I don't. Thank you. I don't. But I don't really. I don't want that to be the driving force behind our content and what we do and what we talk about. So,
Okay.
if you're looking for current event content, this is not the spot.
Hey, that's funny. That's what I say on Monday nights. I do a woman's group. And it's not really that. It's kind of like, it's called Tea with Mama Mia.
Really?
Yes. But
Give me the tea.
but that's the thing. It's not that kind of tea that the world thinks it is. It's topics, events, and answers. And I just pick a topic and we talk about it. And I tell everybody.
You have your own podcast. You have your side podcast
I
without
do.
me.
I do.
Oh man, that's
I do.
messed up.
And
I need
it's-
to start my own podcast on my side.
You did. It was called The Underground Show, remember? Anyway, and I was just going to say that I state to everyone, it's not a Bible study. I'm a Christian and I'm a preacher and I, am a pastor or whatever you want to call it, but I'm not there to give you verse and chapter and shove
Heathen.
a pill down your throat. I'm not.
You're a heathen.
No, I'm not. I'm just trying to give.
Backslider.
Stop it. You're making me uncomfortable and I don't like
I'm
it.
just messing with you.
Okay.
That's funny.
Anyway, so,
That's how I feel when you be talking. Be like, oh God, oh God.
but I'm just saying all that to say that it's the same here. I think we're not here to, to be current on current events. We're just here to talk about things that are going to help you in life.
Yeah,
Right?
I mean, and like we've talked about current events. We've talked about some things that are taking place, but not to the point where we're like,
nail him to the
I think they're,
stake.
yeah, I think
Crucify
I think they
him.
were stupid for saying that. I
Yeah,
think you
yeah,
should have
yeah,
said,
yeah.
that's not my place to do all that. Anyway, so what are we talking about?
So we are talking today a topic that is a partial current event, but
Okay.
not really, because I don't like current events. Again, I don't want to be ruled by society to tell me what I need to talk about and what this isn't a news
you'll get
channel.
more views if you do talk about.
I don't
current
care.
events.
We're not a news channel. If you want the news channel, go watch the news.
you go.
Because I don't like the news. I don't want to
I
know
do.
the news.
I watch the
I know
news.
you do. We know. Oh, we all know. Okay. I don't need current events because he's current event right there. He can tell you all about it. Okay. So saying all that to say that today's topic is going to be called misplaced judgment. What did I say? What did I
Anger.
call it?
Anger.
Misplaced. I don't think it's misplaced anger.
What were you talking about?
Let me see. Hold on.
We don't know what we're talking about
Yeah,
yet.
we do. We do, but I gotta hold on a
Somebody
second.
who probably doesn't identify with doesn't
Hold on.
misplaced outrage of most Christians.
The misplaced outrage of most Christians. The
Misplaced.
Stop it. Misplaced outrage.
Okay.
Okay.
So that's what we're talking about.
Misplaced outrage.
She got a video.
I did have a video, and that's totally up to you.
We're not going to put it on.
Okay, good. All right. So I think amidst the controversy in news, okay, when the newscasters, and this kind of goes with the movie we watched last night about, he was saying, how come you haven't posted it on the news? And Spencer for Hire or whatever. He said, well, how come you hadn't posted it on the news? Because it's not a big enough story type thing.
It's not enough evidence.
Yeah, not enough evidence. So I think amidst of what's going on in current events and talking about how Christians are getting upset of this and upset of that and upset of this, and we talked about the cancel culture, and a lot of people don't understand what that is, but canceling things out, and we did a podcast on that too. But really want to talk about misplaced outrage, and that is saying, I'm angry that you spilt that cup of coffee over there. Isn't that what it is? Isn't that what it's saying? It's saying misplaced outrage is saying, because you kicked my cat, now I'm going to hate all of you for the rest of your life and anyone that walks in front of me.
All cat kickers.
Yeah. And is that not what I'm saying? It's the same as Unhinged. If you hadn't seen that movie, go see that movie, guys. I do a defensive driving class, and this movie was classic road rage, and it was beyond classic. It was beyond that. But the man,
It was beyond road rage.
yeah, beyond road rage. And so to me,
It was beyond classic road rage.
yeah.
Opposed to classic road rage.
You mean-
Which classic road rage, has some boundaries.
Yeah.
But this guy went beyond classic road rage to
Extreme road rage. Yeah. But to me, that is misplaced outrage, because he took his anger out on everybody else instead of the issue that was at hand. And I feel like that's what's happening in society today.
Okay.
Okay? I feel like we are misplacing our anger in the wrong directions at things. What did you say before? You said one time about Christians. Christians are the most critical to other Christians. Instead of helping them and giving them a hand and picking them up and saying, oh, I see you fallen. Let me help you up. And instead, they see somebody from the world and let me help you up. Instead, and then their brother over here that's a Christian brother and been in the faith, they're like, blah, blah, blah. Am I right? That's misplaced outrage.
Do that again?
No, you make me do that all the time. No, but
Was it a bow wow or a bow pow?
you know what? That's misplaced outrage. That's how I feel. I feel like you're over here kicking this brother down, and he's in Christ, and he is one of the fallen sheep. He needs the help up, but yet over here, your neighbor who plays, horrible music, or, he's cussing at your kids and kicking the dog and the cat and knocking down your fence and calling the cops on you for everything. That's not us, by the way. I don't know.
I have been known to kick a cat or two.
But I'm just saying, you'll do that.
We're getting all the animal.
I know, right?
Hate mail from all the
What do you
animal
got
lovers.
against dogs, Special Solo? What do you got against cats, Special Solo? But I'm just saying that misplaced outrage is something that Christians need to learn to deal with and tweak. They need to dial that back in because I think they've been off their leash. Is that really what right? Like a stuck and get 'em. Remember that? If you've seen somebody with a pit bull, they're pulling their owner because they're like, trying to get, and the owner's like yanking them back. And I feel like, and guys, I'm not bashing Christians today, in no way.
I'm
not. I'm just saying that I feel like Christians. I throw that quote, quotations, because this isn't you, and this isn't you next to him, but people like this. Maybe not you, and don't turn around like this, because that plank's fixing to hit somebody. Is that you? Okay, don't do that. But I'm just saying, Christians get stuck and get them, and we're like at other Christians, and then when you go to work, you're like, oh hi, oh pobrecitos, let me help them out. But you don't help your own brother and sister. That's misplaced outrage, I feel like.
You said a mouthful there.
I did.
Had a whole bunch of things going through my head.
I know. I have shut him down, guys.
I'm just listening. I'm like, yeah.
See, this podcast was going to be about passionate people, but we'd already done a podcast about that, so we didn't. Because I was just going to say, when you're passionate about something, it really makes you say everything you're thinking down in there. Do you have a filter? You should. That doesn't mean you do. I'm just being, real. I'm back to 100, so you can tell. Because last week we did the podcast, how to be 100 when you don't feel 100. And really, I thought about it after the podcast. I was really talking about being 100%. You're not 100%, and 100% is all the way full. But so I was like 70%, and I'm still lingering at 92%.
You're doing much better.
Am I? Yeah. Yeah. My nose is still a little on the tweaky side, and I laid around today. Laid around yesterday and did nothing. So,
so you shared a lot there.
I did. I'm passionate.
Yeah, no, because you talk about misplaced outrage. I think when I think about misplaced outrage, a lot of times it's what you said. We're angry about things and we take it out on other people. But when you bring that closer to home as individuals, I think a lot of times we get mad at people that we have a relationship with when they're most like we are. Mm-hmm. In other words, we see their flaws, but they're actually our flaws. Mm. So when we see our flaws in them, we get angry with them because we're not mature enough to handle our flaws, our weaknesses, the things that we really just suck at, right? Wow. And so we take that out. So when somebody does something wrong, we're quick to judge them. We're quick, going back to what you said, we kick them while they're down because we don't want to put ourselves and correct ourselves and man, I'm really bad at this, but we'll point out somebody else's
easily
flaws, right? So when you talk about where society is today and what that looks like, I remember just kind of, you're talking about kind of current events, and so when you think about a lot of things that happened with President Trump. Right, so everybody was hating on President Trump. Mm-hmm. The Christians were supporting him so much. A lot of Christians and Republicans were so supporting of President Trump, even when he was doing some really idiotic things, saying some idiotic things,
and tweeting
and
some
doing
crazy
some stuff. Doing some stuff crazy, just wow, right? But they were literally going to go down with the ship, right? And even though. There should have been even though there should have been some checking in themselves, not to support certain things, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. But then on the other side, these same Christians or these same individuals that are supporting
means not you, okay?
So
these Christians,
these individuals now on the shoes on the other foot, and so these same people were upset because the Democrats and people on the left and all these liberal people were so hard on President Trump, and now it's flipped. Now all these Republicans and Christians are really being hard on the current president. But from what I understand, if you call yourself, quote unquote, a Christian or a follower of Christ, you shouldn't be saying anything about anybody. Right? You shouldn't have your opinions shared with other. Well, this is what I think. This is how I feel. I'm going to give them a piece of my mind. Well, if you're giving so much pieces of your mind away, you're probably having less
don't have any mind.
You're running out of mind.
Yeah.
Right? And so when you look at what that looks like, it goes like from President Trump, or not just say President Trump, but just that was the most current event, right? So that transition of responsibility and power, there are some things that he did that I didn't agree with, and there are some things that he did that I did agree with, and this, I'm saying the same thing with our current president, right? So there's some stuff I'm just like, it didn't make any sense to me, and then there's some stuff, okay, I can see that, right? And so when you're looking at what that looks like from a believer's perspective, we tend to misplace our outrage. In other words, I think we get upset and we point fingers for the things that we ourselves are not doing or could do better, but we're not willing to. So it's kind of like this old poem from a political figure where he says that it's the weak person who points out the other person's failures, right? Like it's the person who's afraid to get out of the bleachers and run track or run their course or run the race or fight the fight. Critical. They're the ones that are most critical of those that are fighting the fight, running the race, doing everything they can. And so I feel like a lot of times our outrage or our misplaced outrage is that we're getting mad about stuff when we ourselves won't even do anything about it, right? Like I'm not the guy, the pastor, the believer who's going to be on the side of the road holding up pictures of aborted babies saying, stop abortion. You're not going to ever see me do that because I'm the same guy that I'm not walking to the abortion clinics trying to witness to the doctors. I'm not the same. I'll pray for them and I pray for them and praying for them and I do pray for them, but I'm not the guy that's going to go witness to them and knock on their door, right? So I'm not critical of missionaries because I don't go into. I'm not a missionary. I'm a pastor. I'm not critical of how they do prison ministry because I'm not in prison ministry, right? So I'm not critical on an evangelist because I'm not an evangelist. I'm a pastor, right? So I think a lot of times what we do is we put on our Christian hat, our believers' hats, and we're very critical on the way that people do life and how they're doing things, right? So I remember when I was a youth pastor, some of you guys may or may not remember this, but there was a huge movement where they were coming against Marilyn Manson, right? So Marilyn Manson was a rock guy. He's doing rock, came out of a youth group, started serving the devil and was doing these huge concerts. And you had these Christians out there protesting Marilyn Manson concerts. Then you had these same Christians a couple of years before who were protesting NWA and Public Enemy, right? But these guys are not witnessing to them, right? They're not out there trying to win them to the kingdom. They're just judging them for their actions. They're judging them for what they're doing. And so when you fast forward, nothing has literally changed. So you go back from hip hop when gangster rap and all that stuff that was taking place in the 80s and 90s, and then early 2000s, and then you have that whole situation with Marilyn Manson. You have the whole situation with President Obama. You got the whole situation with President Trump. It's literally a cycle that we as believers, as followers of Christ, as Christians, we get outraged at what they're doing because it's not serving God, or they're coming against God, and we don't do anything to reach out to them. We don't do anything to minister to them. Jesus was going to have, he was literally eating with the sinners. He was hanging out with the prostitutes, right? And he's got a naked women on the middle of the road brought to him, right? And you're like, what are you gonna do with her? She was caught in adultery, right?
How did you know that?
But why we don't want to get our feet dirty. We don't want to get our hands dirty. We don't want to be smelling. We don't want to smell like the people that are doing the things that we don't agree with. But yet we'll stand aside and we'll judge them for what they're doing, and then we'll judge those believers for not doing a better job doing what they're doing. Yet we're doing this while we're watching it on YouTube. We're doing this while we're watching it on social media, and we are not the people that are going out there. there are things that people do that I don't agree with, but I'm not saying nothing because I'm not out there doing it. Like, I'm not going to go out there and do this, and I'm not going to go do that. Somebody asked me one time, they said, why don't Riverside have a food program? Because I ain't trying to do a food program. And I'm not critical of people that do food program. Like, man, if that's your thing, go do your thing. But I think our misplaced outrage is when we do that, right? So then you have
When we're critical of
others
those doing.
doing or not doing,
yeah.
right? So like they had the current event, right? So we had this whole thing that popped off a couple of weeks ago with Little Nas X, right? So he did the Old Town.
Okay, you will have to explain that for all of us, because
Okay, so you had the guy that did Little Old Town Road.
Okay.
Right, and he was getting a lot of This is what's it's so funny. He was getting backlash because he was a country album, raising to the standard in country music. But then when they found out he was African American, they started pulling the country song off of the country stations. All right. So then Billy Ray Cyrus steps in to support him and does a feature on his album, which brings it right back up, pulls it back into the country. And this guy goes global and he's on TikTok and all this other stuff. Fast forward, this same guy comes out later on that he's homosexual. Little bit of backlash from the church. Church don't really say nothing. People don't really like, okay, well, he's homosexual, no big deal. Then a couple of weeks ago, he comes out with a video where it's all about Satanism and 666 and videos going, like he's talking about going to hell and all that, this whole thing. And so now you have all these believers coming out of the woodwork, judging him. He's leading our kids to hell. And I mean, it's literally the exact same thing we were listening to
NWA.
when NWA.
In the 80s, by the way, in case you didn't know.
90s. Same thing that was going on with Maryland. I mean, like, it's literally full circle.
Same with Woodstock.
And here's the crazy thing about it is that the church has not changed.
Yeah.
Hasn't changed. They have not.
Their response.
Their response has
Their
not changed.
misplaced outrage.
Exactly. So we're literally responding the same way we did 20, 30, 40 years ago to the same thing, right? God doesn't change. He's the same today, yesterday, and forever. But we have to change how we respond to things.
Yeah.
Right? And we don't. We literally respond the same way that we always respond.
Oh, okay, wait. I don't know about you.
Hell.
Well,
you're going to hell. And so, I understand there's a certain amount of you have to have boundaries and respect.
Okay,
You have to have some things. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying
I was going to
that,
say, they're probably asking
but
Pastor Cello.
But I'm saying is that
Now.
if we continue to do the same thing that we've always done,
Insanity.
then we're getting the same results. That's insanity.
Insanity.
So who wants to follow anybody?
No, insanity is expecting different results.
Exactly, and that's what we're doing. So we're expecting different results, but we're literally responding the exact same way.
It didn't work in the 60s. It didn't work in
Exactly.
the 70s. It didn't work in the 80s. Didn't work in the 90s. It didn't work in the 2000s. Here we are, 2020. Come on, guys.
Yeah, we're in 2020, the 21st century, and the church is literally responding the same way it did in the medieval days.
Well, it's kind of what you said with Jesus. Moses went to the mountain. He got all these rules. He came down. He broke them. Like, dang, now there's 10. No, I'm just kidding.
That's another movie reference.
That's another movie reference. And then, God's saying, here, I'm giving you these 10, but you can't even follow the 10.
Yeah, so he gives us 2 rules, and we can't even do that.
Yeah.
We're struggling with that. And it's because we misplace our outrage. We're outraged, but meaning
we are outraged about the wrong things.
Exactly.
The wrong things,
exactly.
guys.
So for me, when I think about those and if this is you, I love you. I'm not judging you. I just don't agree with it, right? So if I don't, to me, I think you can be more effective than holding signs of aborted babies out on the corner of a street. It's just me. I think you can. You can do a lot better than having a bullhorn and saying that you're going to hell if you don't turn to Jesus. This may be true, but I'm sure you could do it better, right? Like, I mean, even Jesus, he approached it from a different perspective, a different manner, right? Mm-hmm. But we feel like we have to be John the Baptist every time we get on the street corner, right? So, saying that to say that I think our misplaced outrage a lot of time has to do with our insecurities. It has to do with what we're not
Very
addressing
good.
or what we're
Very
doing.
good.
Dang, that was a long talk.
I know, but that was beautiful, beautiful. Guys, I'm sorry that we went so long this time, but that was just like something that was passionate in me, and I felt like we needed to address it. And we're not even talking about issues that were current. Yes, you brought one up, but that's not even what that was about. That was about dealing with somebody who's angry because someone kicked the cat.
Yeah.
So stop kicking cats out there.
And find out why they're kicking cats.
Yeah,
That's really what it is.
That's
That's literally it.
That's
like,
it.
I mean, don't be mad that the cat got kicked. Find out why the
they
person kicked the cat. There's got to be a reason.
Got to be a root.
There's a root to it.
All right. That was good. Thank you. Good job. All right. We will see you guys next week. Thanks for chilling with us and hanging out with us. Go get yourself a donut. Don't worry about a shot because they said you didn't have to have one to go get a donut. Anyway, love you guys.
Like, share. We holler at you guys.
Thank you for listening to the Riverside Weekly. Download the Riverside Waco app to stay connected and follow us on all social media sites at the Riverside Waco. This podcast is made possible by the givers of Riverside Community Church. Production and engineering provided by Capital G and RTV in Waco, Texas.